to find your own voice and speak in it. It is critical. It's critical on an economic level even. In the Bahamas, if you would ask what is the number one music, the patriotic Bahamian, the one who wishes to be politically correct, would quickly say it's Jonkanu, and then someone would argue with them and say, no, it's really Rake and Scrape. And then someone who's been on Tino Beach recently would argue it's Gombe. But the young people would tell you that the things they bump in their CD player has nothing to do with either of the three of those that we mention and love and we believe they should be listening to. They may tell you that maybe it's reggae, and they don't sing the same reggae we used to sing, those old fellas. They probably don't even remember their name, like that fella, there's this fella they call, I think his name is Shaba. Oh yeah, see, I'm surprised they know him. You used to have this little song say, ting-a-ling-a-ling, school bell ring, knife and fork, a fight for dumpling. Booyaka, booyaka has never helped a single child graduate from high school. But that aside, and if it isn't Shaba, they may tell you about this guy they call, well, all the folks would say, they tell you it's rap, that maybe that's the number one music in the Bahamas. And there's one guy some years ago was very popular. His name was, the older folks say 50. The young people say 50. 50 cents. And so while you are attempting to teach your children about how to resolve conflict, 50 Cent is teaching them that he ride around with a gun the size of Bow Wow. By the way, that's another rapper. So my point is that somehow our young people, our country, have not found its own voice. So where it should have been maybe Rake and Scrape or Jonkanu or Gombe, it's rap or it's reggae. Because even though our young people are as talented as anyone else, anywhere else in the world, we have chosen to adopt somebody else's identity and message and voice as our own voice. And so when Sprague Benz years ago came to the Bahamas, rolled up one leg of his pants, young men were running around with one leg rolled up and didn't understand why. When brothers were running around in prison for entirely different reasons, dropping their pants below their dirty boxer shorts, our young men and now young ladies have started to do the same thing. So people have come to the Bahamas, and sometimes they didn't physically arrive, but they send their messages, through movies, through music. And we've allowed our minds to be like a blank blackboard, and others have come and written their identity on it. And we've accepted their thoughts as our own. But today we are saying to all of you, continue to find your own voice. Here's the beauty of being you. When you be you, no one can outdo you being you. I have some friends who rap, and I'm telling you, I absolutely love them. I believe the Bahamas has some of the most incredible rappers and chatters in the world. One of my favorite artists of all time is Christian Master, because he tells you sense, he tells you to walk away. He tells you, put up your pants, boy. I mean, he tells you sensible things, but I often argue with my friends, no matter if they're rapping or chatting. I said, when you chat as good as you are an imitation of the original Buju Banton. If you rap, you're an imitation of the original, I don't know, maybe it's Ice Cube. My point is, but if you drop some Rake and Scrape, some Jonkanu, some Gombe, no matter where else they do that in the world, the home and the origin happens to be us. And no one can outdo us being us. And so, when I look in the mirror, I want to behold a Bahamian that I am proud of. And even though I may speak in some other genres on occasion, I'm not suggesting that you don't. I'm only suggesting that you don't lose your original voice in periodically using some other voices. And so young people, we need you to continue to use your voice. You are in that small percentage of absolutely gifted, amazing young people on the globe. I'm told that there are over 7 billion people on the globe. And I'm made to understand that 65% of them, in fact in many countries 70% of them, are under the age of 25. So the truth is, you make up the majority of the population. Persons in my age group and your parents' age group, the truth of the matter is they have more years behind them than ahead of them. Some of them don't want to hear that, but we dying slowly. For some of us, it's quickly. We have more years behind us than in front of us. And the truth is, many of the challenges that exist in Grand Bahama, that exist in the Bahamas, my generation and the generation before me, we have not been able to effectively address. And so today in the Bahamas, the persons who own the economy of the Bahamas, the number is so small. Everybody say so small. Everybody say so small. The persons who own the economy in the Bahamas, the number is so small that you could put them on a plane and fly them out of the Bahamas. I mean, the number is that small. The rest of us are scrambling for the resources lower down on the totem pole. But the truth is, our desire, our dream for all of you and for us for the time that we have left is to own the rock on which we stand, to own this economy. Okay, y'all may not understand it. Let me put it to you this way. When I was growing up, I used to bar people from walking through my corner. In other words, you don't come through here. I should qualify this by telling you I used to live through plenty corners. My family moved often. We were renting. And so, we lived through Padolio Street, Washington Street, 7th Street, Coconut Grove Avenue. We moved so often, the church bus driver used to ask, where we dropping you this Sunday? But let me just show you how ridiculous it is. Even though me and my friends, even though we didn't own the corner through which we lived, we were stopping people from walking through it. We used to call it barring. I bar you from coming through here. See it? Consider this for a moment. While we were busy barring people from coming through the corner where Mommy used to rent the house, there were young people our age thinking about owning subdivisions. They were busy working on after-school projects, developing things that we now use in our companies. We were busy stopping folks from walking through a corner while they were busy developing applications for computers, designing a software that most of us were wearing. So my point is that as gifted and as talented as you are, it's important that we tell you today, as we celebrate you, that you are the ones who must lead the charge in answering those questions that my generation and the generation before me have not yet been able to answer. Like, how do we own Grand Bahama? How do we become employers rather than just employees? How do we own the resources of this country? So that years later, we won't lose you, that when you go off to school, you don't consider coming back because there's very little for you. So the conversation we want to have with you is that you are as gifted as anyone else, anywhere else in the world. What's the proof? The proof is most of the leaders that I know in the Bahamas, at some point they passed through this ministry and they won one of these awards. The persons who are pace setters in this country, most of them pass the same route that you pass. So you are in good stead, but you are smarter than we ever were. The things I learned in high school, you knew it from the end of primary school. You knew it from junior school. The things I learned in college, by the time you graduated from high school, the point is you would have mastered it already. You are smarter than us. But the truth is, emotionally, you're at a different level. You see, back in the day, I'm told by a clinical psychologist, Jawanza Kanjufu, he made this point, honorees. He said the thing that separated adults from children was secrets. Because secrets were where? Secrets were in books. So by the time you finish reading a book, you are emotionally and mentally developed to handle the information in it. Nowadays, you are getting the information at the same time as the rest of us, without the benefit of emotionally and mentally developing in order to manage it. So when the family life teacher comes to class and says, we can talk about sex today, the first thing that happens is the rest of you say, what would you like to know, teacher? Because the truth is you often know more than the family life teacher. And so what we're saying to you is, we need you to protect the voice that you have. That voice is so incredible, you can't afford to have that voice damaged. I used to tell, those stories that my political colleagues say I must never tell again because the opposition would use it against you. But I don't care. See, I used to tell the story back in the day. I say, from the summer grade 6, I used to, but it was great. No pesticides and herbicides back in the day. It was the stuff grown in Jamaica, right? So I used to smoke herbs from grade 6 through high school. And I used to like to chase it with alcohol. This was the thing. Young kids were smoking and drinking back then. And then, of course, I met Jesus, so I stopped, right? I backslid a couple of times, but that aside. The point is, I stopped, right? So when I share my story about how I used to fight, like stitches in my face and head 8 times, most of it from fighting, and I thought I won those fights, right? So when I tell this story, I used to have guys, these big burly guys in functions used to come up and say, "Boy, Pintard, true the story you share, but I feel that, because that's what I get through, right?" And so they used to tell me, say, "Man, people who ain't never went through nothing can't relate to them," and so they feel in me. And they thought that made a difference to me. Because the truth is, I would have rather learned the lessons I learned without having the scars that I collected along the way. So when we say to you, we want you to protect your voice, we say, it's some dumb things that some of us did in the past. You will need to experience in order to arrive at the right. All the negative forces that are competing with you for their attention and their imagination, we must fight them daily, even if it means looking in the mirror and fighting the demon in us. We must fight to protect them. And so we love you. God bless you. Have a wonderful afternoon, and congratulations on it.
Thank you, Minister.
Share a little with me. Share the Youth Month is a time when the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture and the government of the Bahamas celebrate excellence among our young people. The theme, of course, this year addresses the issue of youth finding their voice, demonstrating that they are innovative, that they are the agents of change, that they can achieve excellence. And so today, I'm proud of Carlo Roca, Brown, and the entire staff of the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, and all of the youth practitioners that groomed these young people along with their parents to produce talented, gifted Bahamians in the area of sports, culture, leadership, entrepreneurship, and a wide range of areas. And so today, my simple role was to encourage young people to find their voice. Bahamian young people are as talented as anyone else, anywhere else in the world, and our role is to facilitate them finding that voice, removing the roadblocks out of their way so that they can pursue their passion and pursue their goals. And so I'm really grateful for this opportunity and humbled to see the amount of young people and their parents and friends and relatives who came out to support them. If we're going to transform Grand Bahama and the Bahamas and ensure that Bahamians begin to or continue to impact the world, then we must show appreciation when they are doing well. And today was about showing appreciation to our honorees.